All right. So Aurelia, just quick introduction again. We will, if you start a sentence and they're like, "Wait, I want to re-say that" or anything else, just say that, and I can, edit it. So you're always welcome to like stop and start or something like that. Just give a pause of like a second or two.
All right.
We'll talk about the episode. We'll talk about what we like about it, things like that. Any questions before we begin?
I don't think so.
Okay, sounds good. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Star Wars Generations podcast. I don't know what is below Generation Z, but we have our youngest fan, or as far as I know, our youngest fan. If there's an even younger fan who wants to be on the podcast, let me know. But Aurelia has been on a couple podcast episodes before. One of their favorite episodes is Season 3, Episode 1, Clone Cadets. And so we brought them on to talk about it. It is myself, Aurelia, and Aaron, as always. Aurelia, so glad you could join us today.
Thank you. This is one of my favorite episodes. It's
Awesome.
pretty hard to choose like one episode because there's like 2,000 episodes in all of the Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So choosing one of my favorites.
Okay, what one of is more accurate, I should say. Thank you for the clarification there. And just to remind us, how old are you?
11.
11. And how did you get into Star Wars?
Well, mostly it was my dad, which he's mostly like, oh, I like this, so we're gonna watch it together.
I like it.
Real.
Which also happens with like sports and stuff. So it will be like, oh, we're all together eating dinner. How about we put on a Star Wars episode? And then we'll all just like watch it and then know the storyline.
See, and Aaron, you had a similar experience, right?
Yeah. I got into Star Wars through my dad for sure, because like he grew up seeing the original trilogy in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the only one he got to see was Return of the Jedi. But yeah, so we always had like the box VHS. Do you know what a VHS is? Aurelia?
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever used one?
Probably not.
Okay. Anyways, we have those up at my lake cabin, and it's the original trilogy. So that's my first memories would be like of A New Hope, and then I just started back at Clone Wars. Like that was just like the next thing I remember really intaking.
Nice.
And it's the best. And this is one of my favorite episodes too. The whole storyline, this episode, Rookies, and then ARC Troopers, which is right after this episode. Rookies is in season 1. Right. They followed the same squad, which is Domino Squad. And those boys mean so much to me. Fives and Echo, so close to my heart. My little guys. So I absolutely love this kind of like spread out arc of them with the Clone Cadets being the first episode.
Nice. Now, let me give you a quick plot summary of the episode, and then we'll talk about what happens and why it's important and who these characters are. Because as you said, this is kind of a prequel to an episode that will come that already happened, but also there's another episode, ARC Troopers. But then, of course, some of these other characters, particularly Fives and Echo, are going to go on to have very important roles in the plot, including with Echo going on to be a Bad Batcher later on. So,
that's also, this episode is the first time that they said like Bad Batcher or anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really cool.
First reference.
The first appearance of 99, who's important for all those storylines. Great character as well. So this is, and it's also, I like this episode is also not just a fun story, but also just really helps us understand a really important part of the clone story, which is their training. Because what we're seeing is that, like, a lot of military kind of training, you've got to pass a final test before you get to kind of graduate from being cadets to become soldiers. And so the clones have to pass this battle test, which is kind of, they're up against battle droids. Obviously, it's not real gunfire, lasers, but it can hurt, and you have to pass it. You have to work as a team. You have to defeat these battle droids. You have to scale what's called the Citadel. And they go through it. They fail. And we learn that there are various bounty hunters, along with the Jedi, Shaak Ti, who are in charge of this. And one of the bounty hunters named Brick. Sorry, my phone decided to try and help. One of the bounty hunters is named Brick. He wants to give up on them. We find out that one of the Kaminoans wants to give up on them, but that Shaak Ti and the other bounty hunter really believe in them and think they can make it. And they have some various adventures. We learn one of them is just kind of always making jokes and gets challenged by Brick. And Brick at one point calls him a cut-up. And that's kind of fun because he says, okay, well, then my name is going to be Cut Up.
Yeah.
Another one of them, Heavy, is always kind of trying to carry the load for everybody. He tries to go AWOL, but 99 talks him back into staying. And eventually, to the great surprise of everyone, they figure out how to work together as a team, and they pass the test under even harder circumstances than anyone imagined.
You want to know something crazy?
Tell me.
I did not realize / remember until when I watched it today that Heavy wasn't just because he had heavy machinery, as in a machine gun. I just thought that's why. And then I was like, it all came together. I was like, holy crap. Yeah, so that was a nice realization for me after watching that episode probably like 7 times already. Just finally like paid attention, I guess. I don't know.
I love
Please
it.
continue. But I just wanted to put that in.
Well, so Aurelia, tell us, why is this one of your favorite episodes?
Well, it's like there's a lot of reasons, but one of them is like it's like at the beginning they're like, "Oh no, we can't do anything. Like nobody is doing it right, anything." And then at the end it's like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to make it." Wait. Somebody stole the one thing that was stopping them. And then I was like, "Wait, what if we just work together as a team?"
The power
So
of friendship.
crazy. I know. That's what I said right after the episode. We were watching it, and I said, the power of friendship.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because, we say the power of friendship, we're joking around like that, but like I know people who've been in the military who talk about this episode as like this is an essential lesson that soldiers have to learn. Really anyone who's doing any kind of like hard teamwork, because one of the things that happened, there's one time they try the test where one of their guys gets hit and they leave him behind. There's other times where they kind of
You
go
can't
off
do
and do
that,
their own
bro.
thing. Like so much of it's about like you have to trust your team. You have to do what the team is doing instead of your own individuality, and sort of put aside your own individual feelings on it. And I love that it seems so silly, and yet for a show about the military, which Clone Wars is, this is a really important lesson.
Yeah, no, definitely. I loved how when they, left their man behind, they just shut off the simulation. They're like, come on,
No.
guys. Literally,
No.
first rule, don't leave someone behind. Automatic fail. And they're like, but we were going to get it. No, you guys all got shot anyways. Like, you were going to get shot anyways. It's just.
They literally, when they came down, they were like, "You did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, and this wrong."
Yeah, they got chewed out. Pretty embarrassing.
And it's funny because if you think about it, some of the other great clone episodes we have, especially ones involving Rex, a lot of them are about them going back to get their one guy who got hit and making sure they don't leave them behind. And so, yeah, it's nice that this episode, although it feels kind of separate from all the others, the themes that it's setting up, we see again and again in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, there's so much I love about this episode. I loved that we got to know Shaak Ti a little bit more. Because, like, honestly, growing up, the most I knew about Shaak Ti in my teenage years was that, like, she's just a meme that Darth Vader or Anakin kills all the time. And just, like, constant, like, she just dies multiple times in multiple ways. And it's just, like, a meme. And I was like, well, I know she's, like, the clone lady, but, like, I really don't know. Because in the prequels, there's really not much, getting to know her character. I don't even know if she has speaking lines, to be honest with you.
Right.
So yeah, I loved this and really her building an image, what I take as an image of like very motherly towards these clones, like she still understands this is a war. She understands like this is going to be hard, but she has like, in the episode, one of the bounty hunters says like, "Oh, you Jedi have too much compassion." And it's like, that's what the Jedi are supposed to do. First of all, duh. But also in the Clone Wars, we don't always see that from Jedi. We don't always see them being compassionate or having empathy or giving people the extra chances. Cough, cough, Anakin, cough, cough. So I really loved seeing Shaak Ti as that. And then, y'all know me. I have a weird thing for clones, as in I just know everything about them. And I've read so much media about them. And so much of it, they speak relatively fondly of Shaak Ti. Of like, even in the books where they all hated Jedi and they all thought that they were jerks and just like saw them as cannon fodder, which was true for a lot of Jedi, but they never really dogged on Shock T. They were kind of like, she was there, like, we don't like what she was a part of, but they're not like, oh my God, she's a horrible person. Like, she sucks. Like, oh, I'd put a, okay. I almost got really aggressive. Based on this one book series, but I don't need to go there. But yeah, so I really loved seeing her, and she is such a strong silent type. But the way that she like kind of makes a compromise between the two bounty hunter trainers.
Yeah.
Because the one of them is like, oh no, like give him a chance, like da da da. And the other one's like, send him to maintenance now. They're just gonna clean toilets for the rest of their lives. And
Yeah.
Shakti is like, I don't agree with the way you're saying it, but I do hear you, and they do need to do better. But I also hear you, and yes, they can do better.
Right.
And so like she's just such a great mediator, which a lot of Jedi don't succeed in. I mean, Obi-Wan Kenobi is the negotiator, but we know how many of his negotiations end up in lightsaber fights or, you know, crashes. So
the negotiations were short.
yeah, they were short. Yeah, so I really loved seeing Shock T, I guess. Did you have any thoughts about Shock T, Aurelia?
I mean, I feel like she was like the mediator. Not to like reference like kindergarten or anything, but it's like when two kindergartners are fighting, they're like, but I want the blue crayon. No, that's mine. You can have the red crayon. No. And she's like, wait, how about you guys both share the blue crayon? It's like, I hear you, but you're not saying it right. And I hear you, but like, I know they can do that. Like,
but they need to do more.
Right.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah.
And she also,
I think it's a great way of putting it, because it feels like there's a balance that has to happen here. Where on the one hand, like, yes, these are your students, these are your cadets, you want to help them, you want to do everything you can to help them and to make them feel good about themselves, and like failing sucks. On the other hand, they are going to be soldiers, they are going to be clone warriors, and if you put bad clone warriors into the fight along with everyone else, they're not only going to hurt themselves, they're going to possibly like get other clones killed and lose battles and cause all these problems.
They left a man down.
Yeah,
they were just like, bye.
And like someone else of some other squad might not be so cool with that. And I thought one of the most interesting scenes is when, so she's trying to balance those two things, and then of course also she talks to a Kaminoan at one point. Aaron, was this what you were trying to talk about? I
was going to bring it up, but you say your thoughts.
Okay.
I was just going to bring it up.
So yeah, and basically Kaminoan, you know, at least the other Brick is like, well, just have them go and be maintenance, you know. The Kaminoan, they're not seeing them as people, they're seeing them as a defective product, you know. And if you've got a factory and you're trying to make chairs and you make some bad chairs, well, you just chop those chairs up for wood and put them back into the mill or whatever and try again. And that's the Kaminoan perspective. And at least Shock T is like, whoa, no, these are people. We can't just see them as disposable. And I think, again, that sets up so much of the tension between the Jedi and the Kaminoans that, of course, we're then going to see in the Bad Batch and other things like that.
Yeah.
I remember one time, like, they literally said they're people. Like, Ellis, they said they're people. They're not just like objects. Don't quote me on that, but they said something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Both like Shock T and Ellis were seeing them for more than just numbers and soldiers, which was, I think, important and really good and a nice balance to the story. And didn't Shock T also have a conversation with God, who was it? Who wanted to switch squads?
Yeah. I don't know if it was Shock T, but somebody was like, yeah, I want to switch squads. Well, like, I don't want to be in this squad anymore. And they were like, but wait, was it Heavy with 99?
I think it's Echo, because
it's Echo with Shock T, because he says like,
oh yeah,
she's like, oh, I can tell you're stressed or whatever, and he's like, well, yeah, you're a Jedi, and she's like, you don't have to be a Jedi to literally smell the anxiety on you.
I know, like, you don't have to have powers to be able to tell that. Pretty obvious.
You're stressing.
State the obvious.
For sure. And so let's talk about the character of 99. Aurelia, what do you think of 99 as a character? For those who haven't seen it or don't need to be reminded, he is someone who is kind of a defective clone. He looks much older, and so now he's kind of like, he does like maintenance and you know, they say he cleans the toilets and the showers and stuff, but he's also kind of a like the bartender or like Guinan from Star Trek. He's the person who clones go to talk about things.
Yeah, I remember when Brick was like, "Y'all go be with maintenance." That he was saying with 99 and the maintenance. So Brick was referencing him as being the maintenance a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, and normally you would be like, oh, well, if it's with 99 in the maintenance, maybe he got a chance and he did the same thing as Domino Squad. But then Heavy was talking to him and he was like, I didn't get a team. I didn't get to do any of that. So
Yeah.
keep your team. And Heavy was like, we're not going to lose. We're going to pass. When he went back to his team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
And it's very, I feel like there's a sort of a commentary on disabilities within this episode of like everyone is so quick to mistreat and talk bad about 99 and be like, well, he can't do anything, he can't this. And he's obviously very physically different from them. He has, whether it's just that he's older, but to me it looks as though he may have had some sort of like deformities as well that caused him to not be able to go into the actual cadet training.
Right.
And I think it was just like you said, Aurelia, about how when he talks to Heavy about like, hey, I never got the chance. Like, you actually have a chance and you're throwing it away. Like, you have to take it. I think it was just such a beautiful way to show the strength and depth of a character that could have just been like a throwaway joke.
Yeah, it could have just been like, well, he's the maintenance.
He's the maintenance guy, whatever. He's defective.
Like,
bad.
go with 99 in the maintenance, and then just be like, he's the maintenance. It's
And
not
then
like he doesn't have any other character.
Yeah.
Character traits.
He turned out to be the wisest of all.
Yeah.
His personality is just to clean the toilets.
No, and I love that because he does get referenced again a number of times as kind of a mascot. Sounds too diminutive. I don't mean that, but I feel like he's the kind of reminder of what they're fighting for back home that the clones draw on a lot through the rest of the series and into the Bad Batch. I think, doesn't he die early in the Bad Batch? Sorry for spoilers, but I feel like he has some important role.
We definitely see him. No. It's the next episode. It's ARC Troopers.
Oh, okay. Well, spoilers.
Okay.
It's
spoiling the next episode and this episode.
Yep.
In the same 20 minutes.
It is, a show that's 20 years old, 15 years old, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
But still.
Hopefully you've seen it by now.
For sure. One of our other standout moments, Aaron, as our kind of resident, know everything about the clones, tell us about who these characters go on to be, because obviously Echo goes on to be a member of the Bad Batch, but a number of these other characters get important arcs.
Okay, so when we first see this squad is actually the episode Rookies. Unfortunately, we lose a lot of said rookies in that episode. Cut Up, I believe, is eaten by a giant worm.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Somebody else is eaten by the worm too, I thought. Because who was it? They have
Cut Up. Droid
Heavy,
Bait.
Droid Bait.
Which
Yeah, I don't know
that's a
where
rough
he
name
went.
to give someone.
That's a rough name. Yeah.
Droid Bait and Cut Up. Droid Bait. I get Cut Up because it's from the episode, but Droid Bait.
They just called him that because he was always getting shot. I mean, it's pretty rude.
Yeah.
I know. Droid Bait. Like, how could you have that name and not be Droid Bait?
And not just die. Yeah. So he probably lived up to his name in the Rookies episode. And then
definitely.
Heavy sacrifices himself and blows up all of the commando droids to, notify the outer world that something bad is happening there. And the people who survive.
This episode makes that moment feel even more powerful when you realize that he was the one who's going to go off by himself. Because he was the one being like, well, I don't care about the rest of the squad. And so just think about how far he has had a journey that then by the episode that's earlier but later in the timeline, he's the one to sacrifice himself, to blow himself up, to save everybody else.
And it's also interesting because when you see Rookies initially, you don't realize that he had this whole, conflict and arc to become a leader and to become comfortable within the group. Not only to be a part of a group, recognize his brothers and their value, but to really be a leader and a team worker. And then, to really take the role of leader very seriously and do what you need to do to get your people out safe. It's just a really beautiful way for him to go, even though the beauty of it was not understood initially. Like when I first put together, I was like, wait, he's Rookie. Dad. Huh? I was so sad.
Yeah.
I was like, no. Anyways. So yeah, those 3, I believe, go in Rookies. So then we are left with Fives and Echo.
Did like Fives ever get a name, like a different, like a nickname?
No, his name is Fives.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's his name.
Yeah.
okay, that's what
He
I
just
thought.
goes with it.
He's like,
yeah.
well, no nickname for me.
No, he's just Fives because his number is like, I don't know, CT 55555 or something.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I remember that. It's like
Yeah,
5, like a lot
it's
of
just all 5.
fives.
It's
Yeah.
just all
Yeah.
5.
The last 4
It's like
digits
CT
are
5, and it's like just call me Fives. Because I remember in the time where they failed the first time, I think
Mhm.
he was like CT 5.
Yeah,
Go ahead, and it's like I'm Fives.
yeah.
There's too many 5s in my name.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For that.
Keep it simple.
Because
Can't be
Fives has
saying
always
that.
been very protective of his humanity and like his
Right.
autonomy. And I love that we see that in this episode of like it really takes him out of the teamwork and takes him out of the like important thing when somebody doesn't call him by the name he wants to be called by.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, shut up. I asked you to say something else, like, and it takes less time to say Fives.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like Echo, where it's like he's like, don't call me Echo.
Yeah.
Don't call me that.
It's like the opposite, but then they just
Yeah.
called him that anyways.
And am I
Yeah.
right that Fives is the one who later starts to figure out the secrets about the clone, about the chip for Order
Yes.
66?
Yeah.
And so he has a
So-
real tragic story that's going to be tied in with everything else about the Bad Batch and all that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Also about Echo, before I forget, I had a moment of realization. I had watched this episode like multiple times, and I just realized because last night we rewatched it to make sure that I knew exactly what it was. And after the episode, I was like, huh. Do you think that they call him Echo because he says the orders after it and he echoes the orders and my dad's like, yeah, that's probably why. Probably because
Mm-hmm.
that
He
was
echoes it back.
that was their process of thought too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah,
That's funny. Putting together things that are so simple.
I
and
know.
It
I'm
feels
like,
so
well,
big.
wait, hold up. What if this happened? And then it's like, it did.
It did.
That's what it means.
And so I'll repeat the line again. And so then with Fives, he's the one who then will later go on to, again, spoilers, apologies, but to start figuring out the things about the chip and Order 66 and all that, and then it's kind of a real tragic end, right? That's Fives?
Yes, that is Fives. Because after this episode, it goes ARC Troopers. There's an attack on Camino. 99 dies.
Mhm.
Ventress does something really spicy. And those 2 boys, Fives and Echo, get made ARC Troopers. The next time we really see them as featured characters versus just part of the 501st, is the Citadel. Echo is blown up and killed so
Right.
far. Or so we all thought for many years. So Echo dies at the Citadel, and then it's just Fives. He kind of becomes like Rex's right-hand man. And yeah, in the last season, he's the one who starts to figure out the issue with the chip.
Mhm.
Because the clone he had then befriended and one of his closest friends at that time was this clone named Tup. And he's the one whose chip started malfunctioning.
Right.
And yeah, Fives followed the trail and put it all together. And then Palpatine got rid of him.
Sad.
Yeah.
And then Echo was suddenly found hooked up to a computer, like
Oh yeah, I remember that.
some
Yep.
weird cyborg. And then they
Echo
pulled
got
him out of
Winter
there.
Soldiered, I think is just the best way we can explain it.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, basically.
All right, well, it's been about a half an hour, and I know we don't want to go too long, but really, is there any other last things about this episode you wanted to talk about?
Not specifically, but I remember my dad when he would when the clones would talk to each other, my dad would pause the episode and he would be like, this is one person. This is D. Bradley Baker. This is just the one time that he's talking to himself. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually really cool because it's also pretty would be pretty weird because it would literally just be like your voice, but changed slightly, just talking to each other. Imagine
Yeah.
him watching it back and being able to replicate the voices.
Yeah.
Just being like, ah, yes, the deeper voice. Ah, yes, the higher voice.
Yeah, like it's one thing when there's a scene where it's like a clone is talking to Anakin, and then in a different scene, another clone is talking to Obi-Wan, and D. Bradley Baker is doing both of those voices.
Yeah, he's
But
doing
for
like
him to
he
do
does all of
them at
them.
once. I had a friend who was watching the show in Spanish, and you know I was talking about how great D. Bradley Baker is, and I realized he had no idea what I was talking about because of course he was listening to different voice actors.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
The
other
voiceovers.
languages, maybe there's one other or two others where they do this, but in most other languages, they just have different voice actors for all the different clones.
Mm-hmm.
So I love, what D. Bradley Baker does is not easy to do, and this episode that's so much about clones talking to clones, because there's never a moment where I don't know exactly which character is talking. You know, the voices
Yeah.
are so distinct.
yeah. Like it will literally be like most of the show. It was literally just like in the arena, and it's
Mhm.
just clone talks, clone talks, clone talks, and you can figure out which one says it, but it's literally just him talking to himself.
Yep, it's so true.
Yeah.
Aaron, any last things you want to say about the episode?
I love my boys.
They're pretty lovable.
I don't have much else. I mean, yeah, this is an incredible episode. I'm so glad we got to talk a whole podcast episode just about this episode because they deserve it. And yeah, I mean, I could, if you want, I can go on a rant about, you know, the Camino Training Center in the books versus this, but I'm not going to do that to everybody. This is a much kinder version that we see in the show. And I appreciate thinking that that's closer to what happened, even though it's all fictional.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like in this, Brick looks really hard ass. In the books, Brick would be like the softest, nicest.
Yeah. Yeah,
because they bring
it was rough.
yeah.
In this, it's like oopsie daisies. I stole the climb thingy,
Yeah.
and in the books,
Steals
it's
the
like
pine thing. Gives
totally
them a
fine.
punch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been
Oopsies.
great.
I just thought they were going to lose anyway, so I thought I would make it harder for them.
Exactly.
What is
well-
that logic?
Thank you so much,
knows?
Aurelia, for being a part of this. Aaron, thank you. Fans, as always, let us know what you thought. We have spoken.